Charles, can
How's
you
it
hear me,
going?
man?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good deal. Hey, my bad on the intro. I'm not sure what's going on. Usually, I have you a nice special intro with your name and your picture, and it is just not showing up. I'm not sure. The processing thing just kept spinning, so apologies on that, man.
No worries at all. No worries.
Great to have you today. Welcome you to the show. Appreciate you coming on. But look forward. I've been looking forward to talking with you for probably a couple months now. When you first caught my interest, at least. So you got a pretty extensive resume, especially as a special teams returner. Um, but man, really, what I wanted to do initially was talk some XFL and get you in here afterwards. But I think I just would rather you be in on the conversation if you're down for that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. So before we get started talking about you, let's talk about one XFL piece. Uh, so they recently had their assistant coaches go to seasonal. Some people think that's bad. Personally, I think that's just a way to cut some cost, and it makes sense seeing as the season isn't going year round. Just wanted to share that with the people that are listening at home. You can research that more. Here, I got a tweet right here from James Larson. That's where I first saw it. Share my screen. So the source is, according to James Larson, the XFL is moving their assistant coaches to seasonal roles as opposed to full time, expecting to see some personnel turnover. I figured that was going to happen either way. This isn't too big of news, but just wanted to share this update with everybody before we get started on talking about Charles. Charles, in terms of you, man, what do you think as an athlete? Do you think this is a bad thing or a good thing?
Uh, I think it's actually it's probably what's best for like the business. More
For
it probably
sure.
doesn't look on like the I guess the more of the football side, but business wise, like it's probably like you said, cut some costs and help them save some money in the long run. So I think that's probably honestly it sucks obviously for like the coaches and stuff like that. People like losing jobs and now they're becoming seasonal. But at the same time, like I guess for like an overall as the league, I guess that gives you some hope that they're looking to cut some costs so they can save some money for like the long run. So yeah,
Yes, sir. Agreed in that testament 100%. I think they know they have their key components of those teams, whether it be coordinators or coaches. So they're not too concerned about the extras because they know that there's plenty of people willing to come work and assist in a
yeah,
professional league. So yeah,
absolutely.
agreed. So man, let's get started talking about you if that's cool. Like I said, don't have many XFL updates. There's not much going on in the world of XFL. So I seen you played last year for the Frisco Fighters. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep,
Gotcha, gotcha. In your time there, I mean, you were the special teams player of the year. Most importantly, you had 1,143 kickoff returning yards,
yes, sir, absolutely, yes,
and then 7 touchdowns on top of that.
yep, yes, sir, yep. It was a great
That's
season. It was
Yeah, man, you had a great season. And I watched some of your highlights, and like I said, I've been watching for a couple months, and I could see what you're capable of. You're very, very, very fast and agile. Doing some research on you, I seen that you were a former all-state track athlete.
Yeah, in high school. In high school, yeah. In high school, I ran track from freshman to senior year. I started taking it serious probably my sophomore year though. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. But I ran track like my whole high school career. I ran track my whole life honestly, but I started really starting to take it serious in high school.
What was your fastest time? I mean, what distances were you running that you actually got qualified for all-state?
So I ran like all the short events. So in Pennsylvania, so I'm from Pennsylvania. So I'm from Philadelphia. So in Philadelphia up north, they have indoor track as well. So I did indoor and outdoor. So I qualified for the 60 and the 100 individually, and then my team we qualified for the 4x1 relay and the 4x2. So the 60 and the 4x2 were indoor all state, and then the 100 and the 4x1 were outdoor all state. So those all counted like towards like me getting all state, but only two of those were individual. The other two were like relays. So
Understood. Understood. So in terms of like when you went to college, you could have been a track athlete as well, is what I'm hearing.
I thought about going to track. I got some offers for track actually to go to college, but just with the situation with going like playing pro or like running pro or going professional for track, it was more opportunities with football. Like you can't just really the only way to really like I guess make money in track is really going to the Olympics and winning. Like not even just going like going to the Olympics is not enough to really make good money. You have to actually like place like pretty good, and it's just not as many leagues and stuff, you know. So I was real, and then I really loved football more. I kind of just started track in the beginning because it helped me for football, and then I didn't really start falling in love with it. I started falling in love with it. That was the problem. Like I didn't go into it playing it because I loved it. I mean, well, running because I loved it. I just did it because like I knew it would help me for football. And then as the like years went on and like enjoying the meets, enjoying traveling, like I just started like falling in love with the sport. But then once I realized some schools were gonna let me do both, but some schools weren't, and the school I ended up choosing to go to out of college wasn't. So I just kind of I was okay giving it up. I still miss it sometimes, but like I was like I said, I was okay giving it up. So yeah.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, I mean, that testament right there, I think, is held by a lot of athletes. They go play track just to stay in shape, keep going, and get better for your football or baseball or whatever. I know me being a coach prior, that was something you always encourage kids, like some kind of spring sport. It didn't matter if it was baseball, just stay busy. So I can see where
Right.
that comes from. So let's hear about you a little bit more on your background, man. I mean, you said you're from Philly. I know there's some great athletes that come out of that area. So I mean, I'm not really surprised when you told me that at that point. I mean, what age did you start playing football? When did you become interested in taking it to the pro level? I mean, basically anything that you feel is relevant in your background. I mean, feel free to share.
I started when I was real young, so I started probably in like first or second grade. I started playing. But like back in the day, like they had flag, but my first time playing football was actually like tackle. Like nowadays, a lot of kids will play flag until like third or fourth, sometimes even fifth grade until they'll start playing tackle. I started playing tackle when I was young. That's where I really started at playing tackle for Oakland Wildcats. Started there. I played there for about I played there all the way up until seventh grade, and then I ended up going and playing middle school ball. I guess you could say middle school ball for Catholic League. I forgot the league was called. I can't remember. CYO League. I played for IHM Steelers. Played for there for 2 years, and I did that up all until high school. So that's where kind of I started playing Pop Warner, which everybody knows Pop Warner. I played Pop Warner
Yep.
for the Wildcats, and then that's when I went to middle school ball. So I played Pop Warner probably for my first 5-6 years of football, and then went to middle school ball and then to high school. So that's kind of how it started with me.
So you have some experience playing. You've been playing for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been playing my whole life. That's why it's crazy, like just to think like now how old I am now. I've been playing for a long time. That's like how a lot of athletes like that's just like that's all they really know. That's what I've been doing, school and football, like since I can remember. So
Yes, sir. Understood. Now, tell me about your college career. I know researching you, I saw you went to a couple different schools, and I'm going to let you talk about that. But I just getting more information. I mean, I saw you ended up going to a D2 school. Is that correct? To try to
yeah.
further your opportunities. Now, I want to say too before we get started, I did read the interview you did with James Larson. So
Mhm.
I want to credit him here for some of this information that I'm using, and I'll make sure to include that in the notes of the show and everything. But yeah, that's where I actually got that piece from. That you switched to get better opportunities. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I actually, you got it right. I was the other way around. So basically, I started leaving high school. I started Division II at a
Gotcha.
smaller school in PA called Shippensburg University. I went there, played three. I was there for 4.5 years. I redshirted my first year coming out of high school, so in fall of 2016, and then I played the next 3 years, started the next 3 years. So I was there, and it's called Shippensburg University. So they got some known guys that played in the NFL. John Kuhn went there, Brent Grimes. Those are like the two main guys that you would probably know or heard of. After that, after I graduated from there, um, COVID happened. So basically, during COVID 2020, I was getting ready to graduate. I was like one semester away from graduating, and I was getting ready to go into my last season of playing there before obviously trying to go pro or whatever. Um, but COVID happened, and all across the country they canceled seasons. Like, well, Division One still played, but anything under Division One canceled. I know the FCS did the spring season, but Division Two and Division Three is canceled all the way. So like we
Yeah.
didn't have a season. So I was actually just trying to figure out what to do next because obviously I knew I was graduating about 6 months later in December, and I had another year eligibility, and I knew like more than likely I was going to play another year somewhere, but like I didn't know if I wanted to stay there and get my master's there or go somewhere else. So that's around the time when the transfer portal obviously was starting to get real big. So the transfer portal was big. So I ended up hopping in the transfer portal. Once I graduated, I got in the transfer portal, and I looked at some schools, had a few offers. I had a few schools that I was interested in going to. I ended up choosing to go to SMU in Dallas. That's what kind of got me to where I live down here now, full time. But
Understood.
yeah, I end up taking the opportunity to go to SMU in Dallas, Texas, playing there for 1 year. And that's where I kind of that's where my base of my college career was. I did pretty good to go back. I did pretty good at Shippensburg. Finished with, I think 15 career touchdowns there. Over 80, 90 catches in my career there. It was
Oh
pretty
wow.
good. I didn't do as much special teams there because I was like really involved in offense just the last 3 years there. So it was kind of I did it more my sophomore year, my first year playing, but then my junior and senior year I was just strictly on offense. But yeah,
Understood.
so it was good there. That was honestly like I never saw myself leaving there until COVID happened. Like even to this day, if COVID never happened, I would just finished out there, played there, and then tried to go pro. But like you said, everything happens for a reason. And I got the chance to so now where even without football, I live in Texas. I live in Dallas. So yeah, I did SMU. After SMU, I did my pro day. So obviously that still counts as college. I did my pro day at SMU. We had a lot. We had a couple draft picks that year. So we had all 32 scouts at our pro day. So that was pretty cool. Got to do that, and then just the experience at SMU was great. Just getting to learn from some big time coaches. Got to play for Sonny Dykes, who's at TCU now. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so I just had a good time. Played with some big time players. Learned a lot while I was there. Made a lot of connections just because the Dallas area is just so populated and so many people. Like there's so many people here, and you can meet so many different people that will help you on and off the field. That's probably like I would say, besides the football, the best part about me coming to Texas. Like I've met so many people that like have helped my life already, and it's been like I said, 2 years down here, just in such a short time. So that's how my college career kind of ended right there. With the last thing was basically my pro day. That's kind of because I
Gotcha.
already graduated at that point, so I just had my pro day. So yeah, that was the last
Understood.
couple there.
So in terms of pro, I mean, where I seen you went to the CFL for a little bit. What were the stepping stones among the path after, I guess, post COVID, correct? Or during
Yeah,
COVID?
yeah. So during COVID, I was still at SMU. That was it was different because the first year is crazy. Between the first year of COVID and the second year of COVID, everything changed. When I was at SMU, it was like towards the end, so they were still they were if you weren't vaccinated, you had to get tested still. But if you were vaccinated, everything was pretty normal for us. My classes were still pretty much online, stuff like that, just because like they were still, how it is now. Like everything's virtual now, even though COVID's it's still around, but it's not as big as it was. But that's kind of how that went. And then how I got into like the pro and got the CFL was basically my pro day went well. I actually ran pretty good. Ran 4.42 in my pro day. Jumped 39 and a half, which was pretty good.
Oh wow. Yep.
Ran good routes at pro day. Talked to some of the teams, but obviously just not playing them as much at SMU kind of hurt me. So it's crazy. I went home for the draft just to see my family, just because I haven't been home. I hadn't been home in a while, so I went home, saw my family, and the GM from Saskatchewan reached out to me, which was pretty cool. So they reached out to me. They had a camp. It was crazy. I was probably in Philly for a week, and they were having a camp the day after I got back. So it's funny. I ended up getting back to Dallas and going to the camp the next day, and did pretty good at the camp. Ran really well at the camp. Did good in 1-on-ones. Met the coaches. I already had a passport because I travel. Me and my family we travel a lot, so that was a good sign. So they signed me on the spot, like literally like 2 hours after the camp. I was on my way home from the camp, and they had signed me, and I was in Canada 2 days later. So that was pretty cool. It kind of happened real fast, but yeah, that was probably that was my first pro experience. Like so, March 20, March 2021, March 2021 or 2022. I'm sorry, 2022, and then I was in Canada 2 months later in May. So quick turnaround from college, and that was pretty cool.
Real quick.
Yeah,
Whole different world that way, correct?
yeah, it was real fast just because, like I said, I had just got back off a plane from going home to see my family, and then not even 2 days later. Well, the next day I'm technically packing, and then 2 days later, that Sunday I'm flying to Canada. So, and I was flying all day. So that was crazy experience, which is pretty cool because I got to go to Canada, experience that, and yeah, that was like my first, I guess, time being a pro and like, seeing how like the business works and seeing how everything is run and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. So yeah.
Sounds pretty impactful as an athlete. I mean, I hear your experience, and that must have been very, very exciting.
It was definitely, like I said, it was a cool experience. Something that obviously I'll never forget, and it was obviously a blessing because not everybody gets the chance to do that. But like I said, it was really cool. It just happened so quick, which I think honestly kind of made it better. Like I didn't know it was coming, so that's kind of why it was pretty cool. Like
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
2 days before that, I was like I said, I was just hanging out at home, watching the draft, just watching some of my friends get picked up, and just mind my business. And 3 days later, I would never guess that. So.
After your time in Canada, I mean, how long were you there? And then I guess what brought you back this way, and then what led you to Frisco Fighters?
It's crazy. I wasn't really out there that long. I was only out there 2.5 weeks, maybe. So I went out there for training camp. Obviously, um, they. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with the CFL. Like, do you follow it at all? Like much?
I do, but I don't keep up with it fully just because I do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I keep up with it some.
No, I feel you. So basically, they kind of went like on a little strike last year, whenever 2022, and I got released the day before that. That I wouldn't say
Gotcha.
that's why I got released, but obviously they have a ratio, certain amount of players they can have. There's a lot of returning players coming back, so they kind of released me the day before the strike happened. So even when I left, they still weren't practicing for like another week or two after that. So like when I left, it wasn't like I was really missing anything. Obviously, that's not. Obviously, I didn't want to leave, but yeah. So that was kind of that. It kind of happened quick, but after that, I kind of went home. It was my first pro experience. So I was upset, but at the same time, like I said, I was fresh out of college. I was just learning the process, just trying to figure out like how the business worked and like how basically how like I was gonna go with my next steps. So after that, um, I started training again. Started training. Nothing really came until later on that year. Um, I was getting ready for the X. I was doing some XFL workouts, getting some interest for some XFL teams, and um, after that, Frisco, I knew a couple other players that had just signed, and I went to the camp and just was hanging out. I didn't even work out at the camp actually. And the next camp, the coach told me to come back, and they just told me to come to the camp and stuff. I came back, went to the camp. I didn't run at the 40 at that camp because they already had seen my numbers from other camps and seen my film, so they just kind of wanted me to come and just move around a little bit more, just so they could see me in person. And they didn't sign me on the spot, but they told me I was on the team because it runs a little different in the IFL. So um, they basically told me that I was on the team, and just they sent me a contract probably a couple days later after that. So yeah, that was my second experience, and then that's what kind of got me to today. That was in December. I did the camp, and then yeah, and then the season was March to about August. So yeah, that's what kind of got me to now. Just this whole year's been on Frisco, basically from January to now. I've just been with Frisco, and then now I'm just getting ready for my next opportunity.
In terms of opportunity, are you looking for anything specific, or you just kind of working your way up and trying to get as much experience as possible?
Yeah, I would. That's what I would say. I'm looking for just as much experience as I can get some film. Obviously, I definitely don't want to sit out a year. Just what I've learned. Like I said, just from going to Canada to now, just what I've learned is getting film is the best thing possible. And sitting out a year
Yeah.
kind of. So I'm definitely gonna play again this year. Obviously, the goal is to be back outdoors, but I would say I'm definitely interested in going back to Frisco if I can't get back outdoors. So that's probably the goal right now. Obviously, I'm looking at all the leagues outdoors: CFL, XFL, USFL, all those leagues, stuff like that, just to make the next stepping stone to get to the obviously a bigger goal. So yeah, right now I'm just interested in those three leagues. Obviously, I've been getting a little bit interest from all of the leagues, a little bit just from different teams and stuff. But obviously, it's still early. Like I said, I just finished the season not even 2 months ago. So right now, I'm just obviously training, just
Yep.
staying ready. That's really all I can really do is just train and stay ready, and just let everything else handle itself.
Understood. Do you have like people helping you train, or do you train in the facility anywhere?
Yeah, I do a little bit of both now. So I still train where I did my pre-draft at in Fort Worth. It's called APEC. I don't know if you're too familiar there. Pat Mahomes trains there. Jalen Hurts trained there for a little bit. Some other guys. But I train there in the offseason. So I worked with them a little bit. Well, not Pat. I mean, not Jalen. But I got a chance when I was coming out of college to throw with Pat and the Chiefs a little bit. Me and some other teammates got a chance to work with them. So that's where I train at in the off season. I train there now still. I go there probably two, 3 times a week. I also train on my own, just go to the field nearby here.
Yep.
And then I'm on the field every day because I coach too. So basically I'm always around the game, which is great, which is probably the best part about like what I do outside of the football or outside of playing is I coach. So I'm on the field every single day. Like it's not a day in a week where I'm either working out for myself or I'm training a kid or I'm coaching a game because I coach flag football for third graders. So I'm either, like I said, coaching, working out myself, or doing like a private session. So that sometimes all three in one day. So yeah, everything. But like I said, it's crazy. Like both of my jobs, even during the season with football, I played, had practice, and as a practice, I would go coach kids after school. So basically like all my jobs are rolling around football right now, which is crazy. So yeah.
Breathe, sleep, and eat football. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good life, my friend.
It's great. It's great. It's just sometimes I try to get a little break because I was just crazy. I'll go coach, I'll go train, I'll come home, I'll eat, and then I'll watch football. So it's like sometimes I need it. Sometimes it's good to like get a little break. I know after the season I did take a little bit of time off, not from coaching because like obviously I was still in coaching, but from this train I took probably like a week or two off, and I actually got back into it probably a little too soon, just because like you said, this is my first time in my career playing 18. We played 17 games, and if we'd made the championship, we'd have played 18. So that was the first time in my career where I played so many games. I'm used to college where you play 10, maybe 12 if you go to championship, or even in middle school or high school, you play 10, maybe like I said, 12 games. So playing 17 games was first time in my career. So it was I loved it, but it was just like you have to stay mentally locked in a lot longer than 2.5 months. It's like four. It's like March. It was March to August, so half probably 6 out of 12 months. So that was tough thing. We had 3 buys, which was cool. So, but the thing about our team is Frisco, we had 2 of our buys were within the first 4 weeks of the season. We played a
Gotcha.
game. We played 2 games in a row. Then we had a bye. Played 2 more. Then we had another bye. So then we had about 4 months left, and we had one bye in those 4 weeks. It was the Fourth of July.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, so like
And it
other
was
teams,
4th of July.
yeah, which was great. It was cool. I got to leave the state for 4th of July and just get to relax a little bit. But no, it was a long season. But I had a couple friends and like a couple coaches tell me got back into it like way too quick. Like you play 17 games, you see guys in the NFL, they'll take a month and a half off. I It was just hard, like I said, because that's all I do: coach, play, and train. So after 2 weeks, I was ready to start playing again. I mean, like working out again, and I realized like, all right, let me take another 2 weeks. I take another 2 weeks off, and then I slowly start. I'm like even now, I'm slowly building my way back into like training like full go because
Yeah.
17 games is a lot plus camp. So yeah,
Yeah, you got to take care of your body, man, or it'll
and
just fall apart. I mean, especially as you get older. How old are you right now?
25.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, another 5 years, bro. things change.
I know. I know.
Once the dirty 30s hit, I remember when I was a young man, people told me that, and I just laughed at them. I was always athletic and
Yeah.
such.
I
Aha,
feel
yeah, right. Once 30 hit, bro,
me now.
downhill, man, from there. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, bro. I mean, it's good that you keep busy, and that's why I was gonna. That's basically where I was leading to is how active you were staying in your off time. It sounds like you're ready to roll. I mean, any
Yeah.
day you get the call, man, you're ready to jump on and take off.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm ready to even with like some of the coaches I have talked to that are in season now. With the only people in season are in CFL. So even just talking to some of their teams, like I'm like, hey, I'm ready to come up now. Like I'll come play this season, which is crazy. Just after playing 17 games, and they're like, they still have 7, 8 games before playoffs and more. So, yeah, I have to stay busy. I do try to find time like to do stuff like other than just football. It's hard, but like just the way I am, it's just hard to stay away from the game. Which I know at some point, obviously, I'll have to stop playing, but I could still, like I said, coach.
Yep,
Well, my degree's in sports management, so I think my whole life I'll be somewhat in sports, So it ain't really it's not really not that's really gonna really change for me being around the sport. So that's the biggest thing. And obviously trying to go into coaching at some point. So like football is basically what I, I do all the time, but I do find time to do other stuff sometimes. So
makes sense, man. Makes sense, and no matter what wing you end up in, there's plenty to do in athletics. If that's really what you want to do. I mean, if you're playing or we're doing anything. Personally, I never thought I'd be doing any media stuff. I used to coach and play and do all that myself. And like the media stuff is pretty enjoyable, as long as you stay on the good end of things and not the
right.
TMZ type of stuff. But yeah, dude, let's get on some like player specific stuff.
Sure.
What's your biggest athletic achievements? And you can just give me one. I mean, the biggest one in your mind. It can be college, high school. I mean, whatever just whatever you feel.
All right. I'm gonna give you three, one from high school, one from college, and then one like I guess more recent. High school I would say probably win the PCL championship, which is the Philadelphia Catholic League. Just in high school, won a championship my senior year. That was pretty good because we lost. We made it to championship every year and just lost. So that was pretty cool. Then the other thing in high school, just going all state and just running the state championship in track was pretty cool. College, I would say biggest achievement. I went to two schools, so I'll say Shippensburg. My biggest achievement there was my sophomore year in the classroom, which is my redshirt freshman year. We made it to the NCAA national playoffs. We lost in the first round, but it was just cool to get to the national playoffs and play like on TV at a smaller school. And then at SMU, I was only there a year, but besides pro day, I would say biggest achievement. I guess not an achievement, but you can call it like biggest moment. I guess playing in some big games, like going in front of like going from D2, I was playing in front of 5,000-6,000 a game, and then going to SMU. I know we had a couple of games. I know we played against Cincy when Desmond Ritter and Sauce Garner were there. We played in front of probably like 50 that game. That was sold out in Cincy, and then playing against TCU was pretty cool. Those are probably my two favorite games when I played at SMU. I'm trying to think if there's another game that was pretty big that year. Those are probably the two biggest. Those are the two biggest games. And then homecoming at our stadium. Homecoming at our stadium was cool. And then now I would say pro was the two accomplishments would be your achievements. My first pro contract, which was a Saskatchewan, and then probably this most recent again special teams player of the year. It's probably my last achievement. That was probably my honestly that one's probably my favorite too. It was most recent, but that's probably my favorite one. Just because like it was a long season and there was a lot that went into it, and just going into the season, I didn't not that I knew I was gonna be a returner, but I didn't really see that. I'm not gonna say I didn't see it happening, but it was just kind of going into the season. I didn't know what to expect. I never played indoors, so I wasn't really knowing what to expect. So that was just pretty cool to like see all that happen and then get that award was pretty cool. So yeah, that was probably out of all of them. That I would probably say that one was the biggest, just because like that one came by the most surprise, just because like I said I never played indoor before. It was crazy. So yeah.
Just got some highlights pulled up of you, man, from doing the
Yeah.
return. Like I said, this is from James Larson's article. Guys, if you haven't checked this out, I'll post it so everybody can look and get some more information on Charles. Yeah, let's go back. I'm gonna start it over. I mean, go ahead, tell us about this, man. What's going through your head when you're doing this?
Um, it's crazy. I don't really like. I kind of not to say I black out when I play, but it's like I don't really like. I don't really think too much during the play. I kind of just not gonna say I react, but it's just more like I don't really. I don't really. I think before the play. I think obviously I visualize. I try to visualize everything the night before, but during the game, like I just kind of like if you like that game that you see in the IFL is real fan interactive. Like the fans are real close. You can talk to fans, but you could ask me anything a fan has said. Like I don't hear anything. Like you like it's crazy when the ball's in the air. Like I'm getting the return. Like I can hear nothing. Like some people can hear the crowd cheering as they're running into the end zone or catching the ball. I can't hear anything. So it's crazy. I can hear everything afterwards. Like once you get in the end zone and you're done in the play, everything's like it's like being on mute, and then all of a sudden it goes off mute. You can hear anything. So like that's kind of me. Like I don't hear anything. Like there's been times where my coach tried to tell me something at the line, and like I can't hear it just because like once I'm on the field, like I just like my ears is shut, which is sometimes a curse because like sometimes you need to hear things that stuff is changing. But yeah, this season, like I said, I what I do is I'm big on like preparing for every part of the game. Like obviously, as a receiver, you would assume I train, I lift, I run, and I run routes in the off season and do receiver stuff. But last year was probably the first year I started doing special team stuff in the off season, where I started catching kicks, catching punts, working on that stuff also in the off season. Which obviously the only people that really work on special teams in the offseason are kickers and punters and long
Yep,
snappers.
yep.
So I kind of, me and one of my other teammates who actually was in Canada too, we kind of switched the approach and just started having days where we worked on strictly special teams. So like, for example, yesterday, a punter, I caught like 50, 60 punts from a punter. So just that was my workout for today. Like I didn't do any receiver stuff, any running back stuff. I just caught punts just because like it's so important. And obviously the indoor is no punt return, so it was a kickoff return, but at the same time it's still special teams. So like I do work on a lot of kicks and punts and obviously as well as just receiver stuff. I just try to make sure like obviously you can't simulate a kickoff return by yourself on the field when you're catching from kicker, but you can practice fielding the ball. So I do a lot of that in the offseason, just like stimulating, catching the ball, catching the field and the punts, because obviously the quickest way to get to the NFL is catching punts. Obviously, kickoffs are important too, but punts are a little bit trickier. Takes a little bit more confidence. So I've been this offseason so far since my season with Frisco. That's what I've been doing a lot of catching punts, a lot of punts. It's just because like that's going to make me more valuable
Agreed.
fast, quick. So I've been doing a lot of that. Obviously, I already had kickoff return film now. So now I'm just focused on catching punts, running routes, and just making myself as versatile as I can. Just 'cause that's the best option to get opportunity. Like the more you can do, the better. Which I think indoor does prepare you for that because indoor, I don't know if you know, the active roster is only 22 players.
Gotcha.
So 8 on the field at a time, eight on eight, you kind of got it. Like the coach told us before the season started, we can't, even if you're good, we can't keep you if you can only do one thing. Like
Yeah,
if you can strictly do one thing, we can't keep you. You have to be able to do multiple things. So like before the season, they told me, which I already did. I played running back in high school and a little bit in my last school in college. So they told me, hey, like you're going to play receiver, running back, kickoff return. I'm like, that's fine with me. So I got this season. I had a couple carries. Um, Obviously, I had a couple receiving touchdowns and I had kickoff. So I had a touchdown. The only thing I didn't have was a passing touchdown. So I had a rushing touchdown. I had a couple receiving touchdowns and kickoff return. And then they had punt return in IFL, but it's really a field goal miss. So
gotcha.
it's really just a kickoff return. But yeah, I've been doing a lot. I've been taking a big pride in the punts this offseason because that's what I feel like is going to separate me even bigger than just like me playing receiver, playing running back. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and that's how you get on the radar to get more opportunities down the road. I mean, I think of like I'm a Saints fan, big Saints fan. Rashid Shaheed. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Mhm. Yep.
I mean, he started just catching punts and kickoffs, and now I mean, look at him. He
And he
was the
played.
Yeah, he was playing last week especially. I mean, he had some great plays off the line.
A lot of players, that's how they start. I'm trying to think of a player in the NFL. Like, there's a lot of players in the NFL, even some of the big time players. I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill's first touchdown probably was a return, more than likely. Who else? Other big guys. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys start on special teams in this. They ball out, and that's how I kind of started with Frisco with me. Like, I was a receiver, but I wasn't starting just because, like I said, it's only 8 players, and they had a returning guy, so I was the kickoff returner. And about after 2 weeks, the first 2 games of the season, well, within the first 3 weeks of the season, I had 2 returns. So 2 out of 3 games. So after that, they're like, all right, like if he can do it on return, obviously like it translates, like he can do it on offense. So that's what started getting me more touches on offense. And towards the end
Gotcha.
of the season, I'm touching the ball 10 times a game. I'm having 5 returns, 2 carries, 3 catches. Like it's to the point where I'm touching the ball a lot. So like that was the first time in my career where I was able to, I guess, impact the game so many different ways. Because even when I was at my other 2 schools, like I said, my first year I returned a lot at Shippensburg, but I didn't get as many catches. The next 2 years, I had a bunch of catches, but no returns. SMU, I didn't have as much at anything really. So it was kind of more like, you know, this is the first time I got to use all my experience from all the years in one. I got running back, receiver, kickoff return, punt return all in one, which obviously led to my I would say, even though it was a different game indoor, my best season I've had probably in years just because I was able to get that many touches, you know? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I had some comments here. I forget to check the comments sometimes, guys. When I start talking, these discussions get good. XFL Mike, he said Turpin. I'm guessing he's talking about Cavante.
Yeah, probably more than
Yeah,
likely. Yeah.
yeah. I agree, Mike. Yeah, that's another man that got an opportunity, and he's taking
Yeah.
advantage.
Yep. That's the main one. Yep. That's the main. I missed the main one. Yep. He actually came to one of our games this season too. Because he was signed with Frisco in COVID, but he didn't end up playing with them. But yeah, he was at our game we played. I actually returned a touchdown in that game. He was at that game. That was pretty cool.
Gotcha. Look at you, man. That's awesome. Uh-oh, we lost him.
Yeah.
There he is. There you are. Your face
Oh,
cut out, but your sound's
I
still there.
lost connection. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
You're good, man. No problem. It
There you go.
happens with this stuff sometimes, no matter
Yeah.
what you do. Even me, like I said, I've done, this is the 20th episode, and I've done an intro video the same time every single time. And then today for yours, it just decided it wasn't going to work. So I get it, bro. It's all good. I wanted to mention another comment too. Michael Lathrop from Player 54 podcast. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
No, yeah,
Check
I know
that.
him too. One of my guys. Yeah.
He's a great guy, man. So what's up, Mike? I just saw your comment as well. Yeah, dude. It sounds like you're taking advantage of the opportunity, and you're very smart in how you're going about it. You know, you're not just saying, "Hey, look, this is me and this is what I can do." You're saying, "Hey, look, this is me and I can do whatever you need. Just tell me."
Yeah, that's the
So
best way to go. Right.
let's just keep going with the athletic questions in, and we'll get to some more kind of personal stuff and XFL stuff as we go. Let me see. So we did the biggest. Let's do this one. What's your biggest strengths? Have we talked about this yet in terms of playing? What do you think as a player? You can have 1, 3. I really don't care. What do you think your biggest strengths are as an athlete?
I would say my speed absolutely is number one. Versatility, number two, and then three. I'm like I said, I'm a student of the game. Like I said, I'm always around football, so that's what kind of made me turn into, I guess, like not a good. I'm not gonna say I'm a good coach yet. Obviously, I haven't. As the years go down, but just is what kind of shaped me into like learning to be a good teacher. If you know, like I'm really good at just playing for a long time. I've learned to. I know the game pretty well, so I'm really good at just like being able to like obviously read defenses, being able to learn to play but quickly, just stuff like that. I would say that's another strength that some people sometimes undervalue. I would say like someone knowing, like obviously quarterback they always look to see how smart he is, but having a receiver that is smart or a running back that knows the game too is pretty good. So I would say those are my three main ones. Obviously speed, just like that. My whole life I've been running, so that's big. And then versatility, like I said. I can play 4 positions. Outdoor 4, because they have 4 and outdoor. I play running back, receiver, kick return, and punt return. If you want to count outside and inside receivers, 2 different positions, I guess. I played outside at my first school, and then I played slot from there on. So I can play
Gotcha.
both and inside. So if you want to count five, you can, but outside, inside, and then running back, kick off, and then all the special teams, and then I can even just that I can play special teams too, not just I'm not just a returner. I can go. I went down on kickoff actually this year a couple times, made a couple tackles, so I can do that too. So yeah, those are the strengths I would say.
Hey, good strengths, bro. I mean, they're all valued as an athlete. And like I said, once you get to the professional level, it's rare that you find guys like you just because everybody's so specific on what they're doing, whether it be snapping or catching or running. I mean, everybody's doing one thing. So it's very good you have that versatility.
Sir, absolutely, absolutely.
What if you had to ask your favorite coach to describe you? What would he say, man?
I'm trying to think of what he would say. I know I'm trying to word how he would say it.
First off, who is it? Let's say who are we talking about here?
So like, do I like what coach am I picking? Am I picking just any coach or?
Any you want, man. Any you feel like talking about. I mean, no worries.
I would say the first coach I would say is my childhood coach, Eric Taylor. I call him Coach. He's like my coach, my childhood coach. Like since I've been playing, like he was my coach when I was like my first team I ever played for, and like he's not my coach now, obviously, because I'm older now. But that's like my day one coach. Like I was looking at him more like an uncle. Actually, it was just crazy. But I would say if we're saying him, he would probably describe me just like as a hard worker, someone I'm a team player. He would say I'm a team player, someone who puts the team first. Obviously, a student in the game, and just like one thing that you can say about me, you see nowadays, like everyone doesn't always love the game. I love, just from talking to you, like I love football. So like that's one thing I would say is big. I love being around the game, and any way, obviously, hopefully he's playing, but anyway, I can like get back to the game is like big for me. So that's why I would say he would describe me. Obviously the strengths. He would say I'm fast. He would say I can catch stuff like that. But more of like what he would describe me as, I would say those are probably things he would say. Absolutely, definitely.
In terms of your playing, I mean, how do you play on the field? What would he say in terms of like, are you electric? Are you shifty? Are you violent? I mean, what do you think? But how do people judge you on the field?
I would say I'm probably more electric than shifty. Obviously, as indoor taught me to be a little more shiftier because it's smaller space. But
Yep.
probably more electric. Just I like to use my speed. I don't like to really play around. Like even when I teach my kids, I teach them all to make one move and go. Teach them to just run, like run by dudes. Like I usually like that's how I play though. So like everybody's different. Like that's just how I've always played. Like I've always been like a one cut. Even when return, like you see my returns, you don't see many of my returns where I'm making a bunch of guys miss. I'm just trying to find a lane to outrun people. So that's really my biggest thing, and just using my speed. That's a big thing. I'm real quiet in the field too. I don't really talk a lot. So um, it's another thing. I kind of just stay to myself on the field. Obviously, I show emotion, but like I'm just not the real big like rah rah yelling and touching. Every once in a while, if I'm playing a guy I know, I'll talk to him a little bit. Like a couple guys this year I played against that I played in high school or college with, and I want to feel like I'm like on defense, especially when I'm going against him. Maybe I'll say a couple words to him during the play or after the play, but that's about it. I don't really say too much when I'm on the field. But it's crazy.
Gotcha.
I'm the opposite off the field. So yeah,
I mean, like I do, every athlete has their on-field persona and then their off-field,
yeah,
and it,
definitely.
it is
Yep.
what it is. It's just like going to work. You're not going to be your full self. You're going to be what you need to be the best at your job.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
understood there. Let's ask this one. What do you think is the greatest challenge for most athletes today? And man, and honestly, this is whatever you think. It can be, minority athletes. I mean, whatever you feel like it's the challenge of most.
I would say the biggest challenge. I'm gonna keep it broad so I can kind of like explain it more. Getting over the hump, I would say, is probably like the biggest challenge. I think all athletes, whether you're already in the league in the NFL or you're a free agent. The reason why I say getting over the hump is because everybody's getting over the hump or getting through that breaking point is different. Like in the NFL, it might be getting that max contract you want, or going making all pro team or whatever. For a free agent, it might be getting signed their first contract. for somebody like me is like going up to the next step, getting back outdoors. So like I feel like that's probably the biggest challenge because that's every athlete. Like every athlete has that point. Everybody, like I said, everybody's breaking point is different, or getting over the hump is different for everybody. So that's what I probably say the biggest challenge is because for everybody it's different. For me personally, like I said, for me is getting to that next step,
Gotcha.
getting to that next step to get to obviously the ultimate goal. So, like I said, somebody's already at the ultimate goal. Obviously, maybe a practice squad guy trying to become a active roster guy or active roster guy trying to make more money or trying to become all pro. So
Yep.
it's different for everybody. I would say for me, that's probably the biggest challenge that athletes are having because at the end of the day, we're all playing the same sport, but everyone has different. Everyone's trying to get to a different point. I think everyone for the most point has the same goals. Everyone wants to go to NFL, but like I'm saying, like that's real broad. Like everyone wants to play pro. I'll say that. So everyone's goals are different when it comes to that. Everyone has a different breaking point, and I think the hardest thing is staying consistent within that. Like it's crazy. What I've learned is like advice that I would give to someone like going through what I'm going through is like when when you're ready to give up is probably when it's about to like happen. Like as soon as you're ready to like, all right, this isn't working anymore, is like probably when everything's about to like when you're about to get over that hump. So that's why I always use the get over the hump because you know how it is. Like once you're going up that hill and it's taking forever to get up there, and then you get to the top, you just go right down. It's perfect. It's like you get to the top, but like getting there is tough. So, and that's just not even football. That's just life. So, I would say that's probably the biggest challenge that all athletes face. Even the ones you see on TV, the ones you don't see, the ones that are free agents. Everybody goes through that. And there's not one athlete that they don't have like something they're trying to get over to next. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Very, very real answer there. I appreciate that. Even the explanation. I mean, that can apply to life or football, but
Yeah.
it's for you. You have I'm sure you hold yourself at a high regard and high standard just because of what you're dealing with. I mean, I'm sure that you are close to a perfectionist as you can be. And I know that one hump in the road for me is not, it's something simple, but you not getting that call, you're not getting that chance, that tryout. That's a big, big crushing thing for you as an athlete. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that answer, and I can definitely see how that would make it hard. I mean, first couple times, cool, but after 4 or 5 times of somewhat failure, and you're on the fence about it. I'm putting in all this work. I'm spending all this money. Is it worth it? So, you definitely see where you're coming from on that answer, man.
Yes, sir.
Since we're talking about that, what's your thoughts on like the XFL or the IFL or what's your thoughts on those leagues that give players the opportunity to get more experience, get more game film, just get their name out more?
I think it's great. Obviously, it's just a chance for players that aren't at where they want to be at to develop and get more reps, and then obviously still make a living out of it. Because at the end of the day, obviously, we're all trying to take care of our families and take care of our loved ones. So I would say it's like it works both ways. It's perfect because like I said, you get to work, you get to do what you love, and you also get to kind of take care of the families and make some money while doing it, which I think is great. And like I said, the biggest thing is development. Like without these leagues, I just don't know how you could get reps, like live reps, or get opportunities to get seen still. So I think these leagues, like I hope they stay around for a long time because these leagues are helping out so many guys. Obviously, they're only 2-3 years in, but they stick around. That's good because it's helping players just develop. Like you see in these other pro sports, they have a bunch of leagues that have been around for a while, and you see it works. So I'm glad that the NFL, or not even NFL, football as a whole, the football world is seeing that we need these secondary leagues to help guys get to that first league. And also, some guys stay in secondary leagues and never make it to the NFL, but at least they get to make a living and, like I said, take care of their families, make good money playing. Obviously, it's not the top level, it's not the millions, but you're able to make money and have a salary job where you're making money playing the thing you love. So I would say it works. I think whatever reason you're going into the XFL or USFL or CFL, like it's usually a good reason because it gives you a chance to obviously at the end of the day do what you love. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My testaments are the same, and people don't like it when I use the term developmental, but I think it applies greatly for the XFL just because it's developmental, but it's still professional. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not a second class experience, whether you're a fan or player or coach. And that's kind of the reputation it's got just for no reason. People don't really, pay attention. I think as time goes and the respect comes from the NFL, it'll definitely go and grow and bigger in size. But yeah, I think it's great they give you all the opportunity. And like I said, most of the guys I've talked to, they really expressed the need for game film. And they said they didn't have that on tape to show scouts or whoever they're trying to get on a team with to hey, I can play. So that really
right.
gave them some game film on primetime TV.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the biggest. That's like you said right there. That's hitting it right now. Getting that film you want on primetime TV. You know, it's probably scouts at the games. That's what every guy that didn't get that in college is asking for. Literally. So
Yes, sir. Agreed with you on that. So let's just go ahead and keep talking about the XFL. I had a couple more questions for you, but you kind of already you hit them already talking, so I don't want to keep being redundant with what we're doing. So this will be our final question, Charles. What do you bring to professional league like the XFL or even the NFL?
like I would say, kind of similar to the strength, just someone who's gonna work hard. Obviously, I'm a team player. At the end of the day, I'm gonna do his best for the team to win. But like I said, and I can play multiple positions, so I'm versatile to where the point where you can use me in multiple positions. You can put me at running back, you can put me outside, you can put me inside receiver. I can return kicks, I can return punts. I can run down on kickoff, I can run down on punt. Like it's just so many different things I can do. It's like if I'm just in that situation or opportunity to get a chance, like it's not like I'm not coming in and just do one thing. I could do so many different things that could save you so many, I guess, a roster spots. So that's the biggest thing I would say I would bring. Obviously, I'm a good player on and off the field. I'm a good guy in the locker room. Guys like to be around me. So I think for me, it's kind of like easy pitch. I don't see any cons to bringing me in the locker room or bringing me onto a team with like it's just an opportunity for me to show what I can do. Especially like I said, I can do so many different things, and I'm gonna be a guy that's gonna be well liked on and off the field by the coaches and the players, not just the players, the coaches as well. So obviously that's the biggest thing I bring. Um, just an overall all around good person, good player in person. So yeah,
And we all need good people, whether it be in football or life, sir.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad that we talked today, man. Because honestly, I didn't know you were as versatile as you were until this conversation. You know,
appreciate that.
after looking at your background over the past couple of days and then talking to you, I can see that you're prepared. And like I've talked to a few guys, and I know no matter what you end up doing, whether it be IFL, NFL, XFL, whatever, you're going to be successful in what you're going to do, and or you're going to fail trying. So I mean,
Exactly,
good
exactly.
luck, good luck to you, man, in your future. And
Appreciate it.
I hope this gets you some eyes to get you out a little bit more. I want to ask before we hop off, do you have any kind of future plans and goals in mind right now? I mean, what are you working on? And kind of, I mean, I know we kind of already discussed it, but have to
Yeah.
ask.
Um, right now I'm trying to get back on the field. If not, like I said, this season, well, everybody's kind of done right now, but just trying to get in front of some coaches, some scouts, and then the plan is obviously to be signed by, I guess, New Year's around my birthday when I turn 26. So that's the goal to be on the news to see where I'm going. If not Frisco, somewhere else. Like I said, worst case scenario, I go back to Frisco and play games. Like I said, I love it there. Um, other plans, I'm still coaching, so I'm still doing that. So right now I'm kind of right revolving around that and just getting like obviously find another opportunity. That's about it really. That's really like I said, two main things I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to build my brand with coaching and personal training for football, and then obviously staying in shape and staying ready because, like you said, it can come at any time. So just trying to be ready for when it does come. So those are my two probably future things. Obviously, maybe take a little trip just to get away from football for a couple of days. Maybe I'm gonna go home for Thanksgiving, so I'll probably be in Philly in a couple months. But other than that, just the same old, just training and coaching kids, just those two things, and just waiting for that call. Yeah, that's really it right now.
Man, I'm excited to see where you land, brother. I could definitely see you fitting in an XFL team, and you'd be a killer on them kickoffs, on kickoff returns. I mean, I could see it now. So
Appreciate
uh,
that.
I
I
hope I do get to see you in some different colors next year, man. But regardless, we'll be watching you wherever you do end up.
appreciate you having me on as well. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming, brother. Anytime, you're welcome. That's what I tell the guys. I mean, if you have some updates, you want to talk about some news, just let me know. We'll get you on again, discuss some things. It's like if you get signed on somewhere, I mean, I definitely want to know and stay updated with you and just keep up with you. You're a hell of an athlete, so
Appreciate
I
that.
think wherever you do, man, like I said, it's nice watching you.
Appreciate that. I'll definitely, most definitely keep you updated on everything. Like I said, thank you. Once again, thank you for having me on as well.
Yes, sir. Before I hop off, or you hop off first, what is there anything you want to mention, and what social channels do you have that you might want people to follow?
Um, so I have Instagram, Twitter. That's the two main ones, I think. Yeah, Instagram and
Okay.
Twitter are the two main ones I use. Yeah, that's really about it. I use obviously my Instagram is Charles Heaton 3, and then my Twitter's below. Um, that's the biggest thing. If anyone's seeing this that has kids in the Dallas area, Dallas Fort Worth area, because I train all over. And wants their kids to come work with me, they could do that. And then obviously, like I said, I'm just hopefully someone sees this that can help. Like I said, just keep pushing through. And um, like I said, once you get to that point where you don't want to go anymore, like that's when it's about to break through. So I would say that's my biggest things. That's all I really got.
Yes, sir. I will share all your links in the notes of the show, so it'll be easy clickable for everyone. So I'll make sure to include your Instagram as well. And like I said, anything else? Do you have a YouTube channel with highlights or anything?
I do. I think my YouTube is Charles Heaton too as well. Yeah,
Okay. Like I
yeah,
said, I'll research it and I'll have it in the notes either way, man. So no worries.
sounds
Uh,
good.
Thank you for coming on tonight, Charles.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. Appreciate
Great athlete, man. I look forward to seeing where you end up. It's always a pleasure to talk to someone like yourself, and you're humble and you have the skill to back the humbleness up. So
it.
good
Thank
luck,
you.
my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, and we will see you when we see you, brother.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Yes, sir. All right. Charles Heaton III, y'all. Check him out. Great athlete. XFL Newsroom with James Larson had a wrote up interview with him, and it's pretty good as well. It's more detailed in terms of certain things. So definitely check that out. I'll share that in the notes as well. Uh, this guy's an athlete. He's definitely a stud. So I could really see him on an XFL team next year. And if not, he's going to be somewhere for sure. Um, Trying to think. The 19th, we got Jersey the King coming on. We'll talk about some XFL stuff then. He's in Vegas, so he's got some good stuff to talk about regarding the Vegas move and all that. We'll see what kind of updates happen between here and now regarding XFL, but really not much going in terms of XFL news and updates. The Rock was on an interview today with Pat McAfee, but they had a very, very, very short conversation regarding the XFL. That they did mention it, so that was good. Anyway, guys, that's about it for me. As always, I want to say thanks to the XFL and XFLboard.com. Appreciate you both greatly. Trying to get the details on the combine for the 7th. Going to try to attend if possible. Not sure yet, so we'll see. If I do that, I'll bring you guys some good stuff back in terms of videos, interviews, whatever I can do. Trying to think if there's anything else. Should be good on my end. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I will see you in just a few days with Jersey. Same time, 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Check me out. Our days have switched up a little bit due to NFL scheduling, so definitely check that out as well. I think I'm going to try to do Tuesday, Friday, and Saturdays for recording days. We'll see what happens. Either way, I'm kind of loose with it. Thank you guys again for watching. Thank you for following. In the meantime, if you or anyone you know was interested in anything XFL, let me know. We'll see what we can do. Appreciate it again. Have a good night. Been a pleasure. Got to hit the video first.